Hi, yogis. Hope everyone's doing well out there. I'm going to be offering you a vinyasa flow today, opening up through our hips. I know we're all holding on to a lot of emotions in our hips these days, and the tension that we feel in our hips can really cause a lot of stress. And so as we open up through our hips, we can let go of whatever it is that we're holding on to. And just being gentle with ourselves, just observing, no judgment. We will start today with needing our blocks or whatever props you have at home in our reclined butterfly. So coming flat on our backs, lying down, soles of the feet together, knees out wide. And then I like to lift the hips up, make sure I've lengthened tailbone to the front of the room. And setting those hips back down here and settling into our Supta Baddha Konasana. If you need props under those knees, under those thighs, go ahead and take them as we just thank ourselves for the hardest part of our yoga, which is making it to our mats. So good job, yogis, making it for the hardest part of your practice. Just settling in, letting go of everything that's already happened in your day, letting go of everything that's already happened in your week. Let's go ahead and place one hand on our belly and one hand on our heart this morning as we ground down and start to breathe. Slow, smooth inhales through the nose, filling that belly up with air. And slow, steady exhales, feeling that belly button dropping further towards the spine. Just continuing to expand through chest, belly, ribs, back body here on the inhales. Feeling that belly rise underneath that bottom hand, and then letting everything fall further into the earth with each exhale. Those knees dropping a little bit further towards the mat with each exhale. As we turn our attention inward this morning, just checking in, taking that inventory, paying particular attention to those areas that feel tight or stuck today. Setting your own intention for your own practice, whatever that may be for you. Just letting go of any tension in the face, the jaw, softening around the eyes with each exhale. Slowly opening up through those hips, opening up through that root chakra at the base of our spine. Let's take about 3 more deep breaths here. Just feeling our beating heart under that top hand. And bottom of that last exhale breath, just gently placing hands on outsides of thighs, closing those thighs together like we close a book, setting those props off to the side. Let's go ahead and stretch legs long to the front of the room and lengthen those arms to the back. Really reaching through toes and fingertips here, big inhale. And on the exhale, let's go ahead and hug both knees tight to our chest and rocking side to side, massaging that low back into the earth. And then from here, let's cross that right leg over left, crossing at the knees, reaching for those outer shins, or maybe reaching all the way down to ankles as we pull those legs towards, those feet towards the back wall, making space through that right outer hip. It's a nice deep inhale and exhale here. That back flat on your mat. And then releasing, let's take that stretch on the other side, our cow face legs. So crossing left leg over right, crossing at the knees, reaching for outer shins, or maybe reaching all the way to those ankles as we pull those legs towards the back wall. It's a nice deep inhale. And as we gently exhale, maybe pulling those legs a little bit further to the back wall. Just inviting our breath through that outer left hip area. And then releasing back, hugging both knees tight to our chest, rocking forwards and backwards along that spine, and then rocking up, rolling over, making our way onto all fours. Let's go ahead and bring it to a child's pose here. So knees as wide as the mat, toes together, arms stretched out long in front, forehead down. Just taking a few breaths here in our child's pose, opening up through those hips, lengthening down the sides of the waist. One more deep inhale and exhale. Just work your knees and then bringing it up onto all fours on our hands and knees for our cat-cow. So working into our cow pose, chin up, collarbones wide, tailbone to the sky, inhaling, collarbones wide, and then exhaling into our cat pose, dropping our head, separating through those back shoulder blades, pushing the floor away. You can take cat-cow at your own pace here. Stretching crown of the head up, and then drawing chin to chest in our cat pose. Those tops of the feet pressed into the earth. If you'd like to take that inner forearm stretch, you're welcome to place hands so that your fingers are pointing to the sides or to the back wall. Giving a slight bend in your elbows. You don't want to hyperextend those arms. And then finishing up with our last cat-cow. Bringing that spine back to neutral, so head, neck, and spine in one line, those abs engaged, gaze top of the mat, tucking toes under, bringing hips to sky for our downward facing dog. As we come to our first downward facing dog today, we can slowly start to pedal those feet out, pushing the floor away. No tension in head, neck, or shoulders here. Tailbone to the sky. Just breathing space through backs to the legs, through those shoulders. Come up on both toes, take a deep bend in both knees, laying our belly on our thighs as we push the floor away, tailbone in the sky. Inhale here. And as we exhale, straightening those legs and then bringing heels back to the earth. Let's inhale forward to a plank pose. Traditional plank, really pushing heels to the back wall. You can come to your knees. You can take it back to a tabletop. You can take it back to a child's pose, whatever feels good in your body this morning. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. Inhaling forward to plank pose. And then let's go ahead and set our knees down, releasing those feet behind us. And let's bring this right leg forward. Let's just do some low lunges here. So in our low lunge, that right leg forward, that left leg back. Squaring our hips to the front of the room. We'd like to keep that pelvis level here. And let's go ahead and tuck this left hip, bringing this left hip forward so we get this nice psoas stretch on this left side here. If you'd like to bring your arms up. One more deep inhale and exhale here. Tucking that pelvic bowl under. And then releasing both hands back, top of the mat, bringing that right leg back. Setting that right knee down. Let's bring that left leg forward for our low lunge stretch on the other side. And again, as we come into our Anjaneyasana, let's tuck this pelvic bowl under, bringing the right hip forward so we feel that nice psoas release on this right side. Those abdominals engaged. You can keep your hands on top of that left knee. You can bring arms to the sky. Breathing here. And then releasing both hands back, top of the mat. Let's take it back to our plank pose. And then back to downward facing dog. Tailbone to the sky. And then slowly walking those hands up to meet those feet, bringing it into our forward fold, our Uttanasana. So as we hinge at the hips and we fold over, we're going to take our ragdoll pose here. So shifting our weight from foot to foot, side to side. You can have arms hooked at elbows or hands down to blocks or the mat. Should be able to shake that head yes and no in ragdoll pose. And then slowly rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae, those abs engaged to protect the low back. Slowly rolling up with that head and neck coming up last as we make our way to mountain pose, our Tadasana. Hi yogis. Okay, making sure we're standing solidly in all four corners of our feet, long and tall in our spine, abs engaged, shoulder heads rolled away from ears. Let's go ahead and inhale. Sweeping arms up, fingertips overhead. Exhaling, we fold all the way over. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, we plant both hands top of the mat, and then we step back to our plank pose. Elbows tucked in tight as we take it through the chaturanga, inhaling into either upward facing dog or low cobra. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. You're always welcome to skip the vinyasa flow and just go straight back to downward facing dog. Big inhale and exhale here. Coming up on both toes, a deep bend in both knees. Walk, step, or hop, both feet top of the mat. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, we fold over. Inhaling, rooting down through our feet to rise up. Sweeping arms overhead, saluting the sun. Exhaling, hands to heart center prayer. Nice. Let's do one more Surya A. Inhaling up. Exhaling, we fold over. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, planting hands, top of the mat, stepping, hopping back to plank. Strong through the chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Exhaling, back to downward facing dog. Big inhale and exhale here. Inhaling that right leg backing up towards the back wall, flexing that right back foot. And then slowly stepping our right front foot through in between our hands, spinning that back left heel down. We're going to bring it up into warrior one, so hips square to the front of the room, bending low in that front leg. Arms up in our warrior one. Fingertips to the sky. We're going to open to warrior two. That pelvis tucked under, and then we're going to do our little flow here, inhaling up, exhaling back to warrior two, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling up, exhaling. We stay here, we flip front palm to the sky, we reach forward. Then reach back for our reverse warrior, stretching all down this right side. And then we're going to bring this right hand down inside of the right front foot. You can have that hand on a block or the floor for our side angle pose. Left arm reaches long overhead, an extended side angle. That back left foot still planted down on the mat. And then spinning up on back toes, left hand down next to right hand, right arm to the sky here for our revolved side angle. Opening up through this right side, our arms in one long line of energy. And then that right hand comes inside of that right front foot, releasing that back knee, untucking those back toes. We're going to take it to our low lizard lunge, deep inner groin stretch on this right side. So bringing elbows, forearms down to a block or the mat. And releasing that head and neck down here as we just make space through these hips, through this right inner groin. Just being gentle with ourselves, letting go of something with each exhale. And then slowly releasing up to a runner's lunge. So that back leg lifted, back heel lifted in runner's lunge. Hands at heart center prayer, back leg straight. Inhaling up, exhaling into the prayer twist, hooking that left elbow across right knee. Pushing those prayer hands together. And then hands back at heart center prayer as we release back top of the mat, taking it through the vinyasa, or you can skip the vinyasa and just go straight back to downward facing dog. Nice big inhale and exhale here. Inhaling, left leg backing up towards that back wall, flexing that back left foot, spinning that inner thigh towards the ceiling, and then slowly stepping our left front foot through in between hands, setting up for our warrior one, so spinning that back right heel down, torso facing the front of the room, hips squared to the front, inhaling up, opening the warrior two, staying low in that front leg, tucking that pelvic bowl under here, and then coming into our little flow, inhaling up, exhaling back to warrior two, inhaling up, exhaling, just moving collectively with our breath. We stay here, we flip front palm to the sky, we reach forward, then reach back for reverse warrior, opening up through this left side, stretching, holding, breathing. Nice work, yogis. Then we're going to bring that left hand down on a block of the floor inside, that left front foot, right arm reaches long overhead here for extended side angle. The back edge of that right foot still planted on the ground here. Then right hand down next to left hand, spinning up on back toes, left arm to the sky for our revolved side angle. Opening up through that left side. And then setting that back knee down, left hand comes inside of that left front foot as we scoot the outer edge of the left foot to the outer edge of our mat. Coming down on forearms on a block or to the mat if you can reach all the way down. Releasing that head and neck down as we make space here through our hips, through this left inner groin. Just breathing, just letting whatever comes up, just watch it pass like you'd watch clouds pass in the sky. No judgment. Just letting go of something with each exhale. And then releasing up into our runner's lunge, our crescent lunge. Back leg straight, heel off the ground, hands heart center prayer, inhaling up. Exhaling, we twist, hooking that right elbow across that left knee. Strong runner's lunge. And then releasing back, hands top of the mat as we take it to our plank, take it through the chaturanga, upward facing dog. Exhaling back to downward facing dog. Big inhale and exhale here. Inhaling, right leg backing up towards that back wall. And then slowly stepping through just halfway. We're going to bring it up into our pyramid pose. So in pyramid pose, our feet are closer together than they are in a warrior pose. Heels in one line, both legs straight, hips squared to the front of the room. Inhaling up, exhaling over. We want to get that forehead to knee connection in our pyramid pose. If you need to bend the forehead, need to bend the right leg at the knee, to get forehead on the knee, go ahead and do that. Pulling that right hip back and right hip socket. Slight choking sensation is normal here. We're working our thyroid. And then left arm back in airplane wing, those abs engaged, right arm back in airplane wing, both arms overhead, slowly bringing torso up. We're going to bring it down to pigeon pose. So extending left leg back, bringing right knee to right ankle, that right shin in front, If you need to prop a blanket or a block here between these hips, go ahead and do that here. This is a very, very deep hip opening stretch in our pigeon. Inhaling up, exhaling over into our sleeping pigeon. You can take a block under your forehead. You can stretch arms long in front. I like to make a little pillow with my hands and rest my forehead on my pillowed hands here. Just breathing space all through this yummy, very deep right outer hip stretch in sleeping pigeon. And then releasing both hands back, top of the mat, as we bring it back to, let's do a three-legged dog and shake that right leg out. You can take it through a vinyasa flow if you want, or you can just bring it back to downward facing dog. Big inhale and exhale here. Inhaling, left leg back and up towards that back wall, and then slowly stepping that left front foot through just halfway as we bring it up into our pyramid pose on this left side. So heels in one line, hips square to the front of the room, our feet closer together than they would be in a warrior pose. Inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhaling over that left outstretched leg. We want to get that forehead to knee connection. If you need to bend that leg at the knee, that's fine. Just breathing space here in our pyramid pose. Then right arm back in airplane wing, left arm back, those abs engaged. Both arms overhead as we slowly bring torso up to the top, and then releasing down into our pigeon pose. Right leg stretched back long, left knee to left wrist. You can prop a blanket or a block between your hips if you need to, as we come into our very, very deep hip opener on this left side. Inhaling up, exhaling into the same expression of sleeping pigeon on this side that you took on the first side. Just breathing here into the sensation. So many times when we feel such a deep sensation in our yoga practice, we want to run away from it, and so many times we need to just stay and feel what we're feeling and to breathe through it, because we have to create that tension before we can release the tension and release whatever we need to let go of for today, whatever we're allowing to let go of. And then slowly bringing both hands back, top of the mat, bringing it up into a three-legged dog on this side. Shaking that left leg out. You're welcome to take it through one last vinyasa flow. And from here, let's just go ahead and bring it down to a child's pose. Knees wide as the mat, toes together, arms stretched long, forehead down. Just a couple breaths here in our resting pose. Nice work, yogis. And then from here, just rolling over onto our backs. Coming into our reclined pigeon. So taking that right ankle onto that left knee. Wrapping hands around left thigh as we pull that left thigh towards our chest. You can use that right elbow to push that right knee out. Here in our reclined pigeon. And then releasing for our reclined pigeon on the opposite side, taking left ankle onto right knee, reaching hands around that right thigh as we make space through that left hip. That feels good. That low back pressed into our mat. And then hugging both knees tight to our chest, giving ourselves one final squeeze of love. And this is also the time you should take any final movements, any final poses you need to take here before we head towards our most important pose. All the hard work you've just done the last 28 minutes, settling in. Do not skip your most important pose as we come into our final resting corpse pose, Shavasana. Breathe, let go, and remind yourself that this very moment is the only one you know you have for sure. In the process of letting go, you will lose many things from the past, but you will find yourself. Slowly starting to deepen your breath, wiggling your fingers and toes, bringing life back into your limbs and your body. Can gently stretch those arms long overhead like you're just waking up from a deep sleep. And then you can gently roll over onto your favorite side and push yourself up to a comfortable seated position facing the front of the room. Our hands gather together in Anjali Mudra at Heart Center Prayer. Just being grateful for all of the many blessings that we have and sending this gratitude out to all beings everywhere. Thank you for letting me guide you today. Namaste. Thank you, my friends. Love you. Be well.